This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
The new LinkedIn Hiring Pro can't undo your last hire. The lone wolf, who you thought was a good collaborator because you didn't have the right candidate insights. But once you hired them, it was all hoarding info, declining meetings, and howling at the full moon? But LinkedIn Hiring Pro can go deeper than just the resume to find you a perfect fit. By using insights from the LinkedIn network to give you a short list of best fit candidates. Hire right the first time with LinkedIn Hiring Pro. Post a free job today at linkedin.com/quality.
Here we go. Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
Live from the basement of the YouTube headquarters, it's the Stacking Benjamin Show. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and how do you grow your wealth? We found one publication that describes 11 ways to do just that, and we've asked our gold medal roundtable participants to share their views. Unfortunately, none of them were available for today's taping, so we pulled these three losers out of line at the DMV, and we'll get their completely uninformed opinions.
I did not write that. Just so you know where the blame lies. I did not write that.
But that's not all. Halfway through this discussion, we'll pause briefly for another dollop of my amazing trivia. He wrote that. Can Paula and Jesse catch OG? You're about to find out. And now, the guy who found out a long time ago how not to grow your wealth, it's Joe Saul-Sehy.
That would be a great top 11 list. Ways Joe's practice to not grow your wealth.
Yeah.
It could be like 27. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Friday on the Stacking Benjamin Show. Let me be the first one to welcome you. Sit back and relax because we have a special episode today, and we've got three very special contributors. Mr. OG is not here today, so filling in for him is a good friend in Chicago from Earn and Invest. Doc G, Jordan Grummett, joins us. How are you, brother?
I'm good, and I'm really looking forward to tanking OG's trivia score. So this is like, this couldn't be better. This couldn't be better. OG, you're going down because I'm getting it wrong.
It's so funny, Doug, that we're like, who should fill in for OG? Oh, we know somebody who's really bad at trivia. It could be Doc G. Speaking of bad at trivia, Paula Pant here, Manhattan, is in the house. How are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic. I am looking forward to this episode. This is going to be my episode. I know it.
This is the one.
I'm feeling good.
You could get 2 points in today's episode.
Ooh.
Oh, I know.
This is a bad one for OG to miss. This is heavily weighted scoring opportunity.
It's a great one for the coalition. Remember, there's a coalition to defeat OG.
Oh, God.
Hey, here's the question, though, Paula. This show's been on for 15 years. How many times have you said, I'm feeling good about today?
Over the span of the last 15 years, I've said it many times, and nearly every time, if not every time, I was incorrect, which means that we are due for a reversion to the mean.
She's due.
Right? We're due for a reversion to the just probabilistically speaking, we have to mean revert at some point.
I think she said that the last 8 years, Doug.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yes. And way up in the frozen tundra of Rochester, New York, our good friend Jesse Cramer is here. How are you, man?
It's great. It's really nice. We just got above freezing for the first time last week. And so the snowbanks are melting. Most people have put their snowmobiles away, and we're ready for summer.
Just a slight amount of hyperbole there. Just slight. By the way, I was in Boston just recently. When people hear this, about a week and a half ago, and I'd wear my coat part of the time, Jesse. It's still not summery there. Then I come back to Texas to 91 degrees.
Yeah, it is unseasonably cold here. I mean, it's chillier than it is down south, but I still think right now, I just saw something yesterday because it's kind of making some headlines. Like the average high temperature right now is like mid 60s, high 60s, something like that. And this whole week has been like low 50s, even high 40s. So it's definitely chilly still, but it'll get nice. It'll get nice.
And the Rochester, New York Weather Report brought to you by... No. We have a special episode. It's called a game show episode. I'll explain it in just a minute. We're going to talk about all the different ways to grow your wealth when we get back. But before then, the Weather Report is brought to you by these two sponsors that give you all Jesse's Rochester weather goodness and the game show and our trivia segment, all for free. So sit back. Let's hear from them. And then it's time to pit these three crazies against each other, talking about growing wealth. You may not know that when we started Stacking Benjamins, it was a blog. And even then, just the startup cost, I remember thinking, is this the right thing? And what if I write things and nobody comes, right? Well, luckily, that didn't end up happening. But starting something new isn't just hard. It's terrifying. There's so much work. You're not sure whether it's going to work out. You're not sure if anybody's going to read it. And then we change it to a podcast. Is anybody actually going to listen, right? What if nobody wants all the stuff that we have? Well, had I used Shopify, it would have been even easier because with their expertise, their helpful tools, and their easy-to-use platform, that's something that would have made Stacking Benjamins more effective much, much more quickly. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. Names you've heard of like Heinz and Mattel, Shopify, Gymshark, Aviator Nation, Allbirds, also all Shopify. Get started with your own design studio with hundreds of ready-use templates. Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store that matches your brand style. And best yet, Shopify is your commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond. And did I mention that iconic purple Shop Pay button? It's used by millions of businesses around the world. It's why Shopify has the best converting checkout on the planet. It also helps boost conversions, meaning less carts going abandoned and more sales for you. So you're stacking Benjamins much more quickly. Time to turn those what ifs into with Shopify today. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/SB. Go to shopify.com/SB. That's shopify.com/SB. Dell PCs with Intel Inside are built for the moments you plan and the ones you don't. They're for those all-night study sessions, the moment you're working from a cafe and realize every outlet's taken, the times you're deep in your flow and can't be interrupted by an auto update. That's why Dell builds tech that adapts to you. Built with long-lasting batteries so you're not scrambling for an outlet, and built-in intelligence that makes updates around your schedule, not in the middle of it. Find technology built for the way you work at Dell.com/Dell PCs. Built for you. Oh, you guys know what that sound means. It means it is time for the game show. And if you're new to Stacking Benjamins, what we do is we take a piece from the popular press that some stacker found online. This one I actually found myself. I can even do it myself, Doug. I don't have to have Doug feed me all the pieces. I actually found one myself. I know. And generally, by the way, if you're new to our game show, the pieces a lot of the time are kind of BS. They kind of truly are not that great. And what I love about the game show, and Paula's done many of them, Doc G's done a few. This is Jesse's first game show. So Jesse's getting in on this goodness. What I really like is the banter between the three of you, because often the stuff you come up with is way better than the things in the piece. I think this piece is no exception to that rule. These are 11 ways to grow your wealth.
Basically, Joe is serving up rage bait for you three.
I've done one of these.
You have done one.
Ben Carlson wrote one. It was the 15 mistakes that people make in the market or something.
That's
but it just,
where you have. It's been a while, Jesse.
It just came. It has. I mean, I forgot about it so much. This might as well be my first, but I've been here before.
You've been re-virginized.
Whoa.
Yo, that's what
That's
Jesse
a medical
tells.
term. He's a doctor, guys.
Oh.
That's a medical term.
That's what Jesse tells all the podcasts he goes on. It's been so long, you might as well be my first. Yeah. So 11 ways to grow your wealth. Doug and I have them in front of us. Hopefully you don't have them in front of you. We will go because Paula, you are, let's see what the score is, by the way, because the rules are you're going to get 1 point for this game. And then the meta thing we always do during game show week, we stop the game halfway through to play a different game so you can get 2 points. And the way the game show works is we're going to have 3 rounds. Round 1, answers are worth 1 point. Round 2, they're worth 2 points. And in round 3, answers are worth 3 points. But Doug, what is the score of our trivia contest thus far?
Currently, we have OG sitting at 6. We have Jesse at 5.5 points. And Paula at 4.5.
Anybody can take the lead today.
Today, that's right.
So that means, Paula, while there's 11 names on the board, you get to guess first which title. So for everybody new, what Paula's trying to do is guess one of the 11 points that were on this piece. 11 things you can do to help grow your wealth.
The pressure is on being the first to guess. Whew. Okay. 11 things you can do to help grow your wealth. Where was this published?
I can't tell you.
Ah.
I will tell you later.
Can I get a country of origin?
Could use it in a sentence.
Yeah.
11 things you can do to help grow your wealth. Invest in your 401k. Oh, no.
I don't think we can give it to her, Joe.
The article's wrong. The article's wrong.
You don't think so? Because here's the deal, Doug.
The judges are talking now.
It's too specific.
I was too specific. I should have said invest.
It is too specific. So, Doug, do we give her another chance, or do we just say nay?
Well, I think I think we have to say nay because if we give her this one,
it could be a bunch of different ones.
It could be a bunch of different ones.
It could be a bunch of different ones. So we got to do this, Paula. Yeah, these are a little more general than that. So let's go to Jesse. You get to go second. Paula opened it up for you, I think.
She did, but I'll let Paula reclaim that one later if she wants. I'm gonna go with work more.
Work more.
Work more. Is work more on the list? Yes, It is. They don't call it work more. They call it boost your income.
Right.
And what's funny, Jesse, is that, sometimes in financial planning, it is an income problem. It is, and it can be an income problem.
I'm already having problems with this because boost your income is like 10, 15, 20 different things we talk about on Personal Finance Podcast. So,
these are going to be great. You're going to hate all these.
Falling right into our trap.
Rage bait.
I'm telling you now, that got rid of 5 of my choices because I was thinking of specific ways to raise your income.
But Jesse, let's check. Well, and Doc, we can go into some of those too, the different ways to do that, because I'd like to pause on each of these for a second. We get one right. But Jesse, a lot of the time we'll find stackers are very interested in how do I cut more? How do I cut more? How do I cut more? And often when I talk to these people, it seems like they've cut to the bone when clearly it's blue sky if you just increase your income.
Yeah. I mean, this is funny because you hear this discussed a lot. And the one thing I'll give people a lot of credit for is if you're thinking in the short term, or if you want to start taking action this weekend, the thing to do is to cut, right? The thing to do is to look at your budget and cut. But if you can zoom out to a slightly wider lens, like say over the next year, how do I do something over the next year? Well, all of a sudden there might be a way to boost your income somehow. Additional hours, additional certifications, more training, a better job. I mean, all those kind of things that in the long run, that's probably the better use of your time and energy.
Doc, you were talking about different ways to boost your income. What's a favorite one if you need money quick, and maybe a better one if you need more money longer term?
So longer term, I think we all agree, ask for a raise. Prove that the easiest thing to do, right, is to prove you've already been showing up at work regularly and doing a good job. And maybe you deserve a raise. Do a little bit of research, find out what other people are getting paid to do what you do. Look at the last time you had a raise. Look at whether you've delivered on your deliverables. And if you're checking off all those boxes, maybe it's time to say, hey, I'm worth more than you're paying me.
Yeah, Paula, I don't love driving Uber, but I think it's a great thing if you just need money in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, when it comes to side hustles, there's a couple of different buckets that these belong to. So there's gig economy, which is what you're talking about when you discuss driving Uber. Gig economy, the benefit is that you get money in the door immediately. The drawback is that the upside is limited. Beyond gig economy, there are also side hustles where you're selling a service or a product. The benefit is that there's much, much greater upside. The drawback is that there's a much longer, slower ramp to getting there. And there could also be startup costs or some startup capital. The way a lot of people play it is they might start by offering a service, which has low cost of capital, and then eventually use the cash flow from that to develop a product. There's a whole gamut when it comes to side hustles, ranging from gig economy, drive for Uber, get money today, versus start a side business, get money next year.
Our good friend Justin Peters, who was on the show a few weeks ago. Justin just had a great episode with Nick Loper from Side Hustle Nation. The two of them really dive deep. So we can link to Justin's cool episode on that very topic in the show notes. Another thing I like about side hustle is if you're thinking about whether I like something or not, doing it as a side hustle part-time to see if you truly like it. I love what Austin Kleon said when he was on the show, the guy that talks about Steal Like an Artist, about everything doesn't need to be a side hustle. In America, we see somebody who's great at baking cupcakes was his example. We immediately go, oh, you should sell cupcakes. And if you read a book like The E-Myth, you learn very quickly that there's a difference between selling cupcakes and making cupcakes, and running a cupcake business can suck all the joy out of all the cupcakes that you were having fun just giving to your friends.
I think we're overcomplicating this. I mean, Paula was halfway there. I mean, it could just be good old fashioned street hustling. I mean, think of the upside. The wardrobe is amazing. You get to wear these baller clothes, and it's instant cash. I mean, whether it's like 3-card Monty or that
I like the shell game. I like the shell game.
Yeah, the shell game. Or I mean, maybe you got a banging body and you're just out there. Yeah. I mean, it's instant cash.
OnlyFans. I mean,
15-minute increments. It doesn't always have to be that complicated.
Oh, just a second. We have a last-minute disclaimer coming in. Doug's opinion is not endorsed by the Stacking Benjamin Show. Sorry, just don't know where that came from. Jesse's on the board with 1. Doc G, there's still 10 left.
I mean, if we're going as broad as make more money, then we have to talk about what Jesse said was the thing that everyone brings up, but spend less then, right? Budget or spend less. I mean, if you're going to really build wealth, that's one of the other ways. If we're looking at broad, very broad categories. And don't tell me that's not on there, because this is not a good article if it's not on there.
Well, we already know it's not really a good article.
Well, now I kind of want to say no. just to see him snap.
That just disqualifies. If that's not on there, it just disqualifies the article. I quit. I'm done.
That is so funny, Doug, because I was just about to hit this button for fun. When in truth, it's actually this button. Yeah, he got it right. Stick to a budget is on the list. You know, especially for our stackers, Doc, just getting started, just knowing how you spend money, I think is job number 1 to being able to shove more away.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's wonderful if you have all these sources of revenue. It's wonderful if you can ask for a raise. It's wonderful if you can do a side hustle, but all those depend on possibilities that may or may not be in your hands. But almost anyone can look at their budget and say, do I really need to spend that much?
Yeah, it doesn't have to, Paula, be a quote budget per se. You do it kind of the opposite, which is pretty cool.
So I'm a big fan of what I refer to as the anti-budget, where you pull your savings off the top first and then spend the rest. And so with the anti-budget, number 1, when I say savings, I'm referring to anything that boosts your net worth. So it could be literal savings in a savings account. It could be contributions to a retirement account. It could be extra payments on a debt above and beyond the minimum required. But any net worth booster is what I include in the savings. And you just pick a number, either a raw dollar amount or a percentage of your income. You pull it off the top first, and then whatever is left over is yours to spend freely.
Jesse, do you like that approach of Paula's, the anti-budget, if somebody's brand new to the world of trying to get more money saved?
Yeah. I mean, just from experience, there are a lot of people who, if they see money sitting in the account, will feel the temptation to spend it.
Me.
Right. And so I think the anti-budget is one of a few different ways that it really helps people like that ensure that they check the right boxes first before they go off and spend their money.
I still think there's value, though, in seeing those expenses and how you spend money, which is why I've advocated like a 20-minute meeting once a week. Just take 20 minutes, set a timer so that you don't go over that. Just review how you spent money last week. Think about how you spent money the next week. Boom, you're done. Very, very simple, because I found subscriptions early on that I forgot that I had. I found opportunities with my phone bill that I didn't realize that I had. I think that conscious 20 minutes, Paula, can go a long way if somebody's new.
Yeah. Yeah. And I will say, the anti-budget tends to work best if you have a little bit of discretionary income. If you're really paycheck to paycheck, sometimes it requires a much tighter budgeting because you just have less margin there.
All right. At the end of round one, Doug, what's the score?
We have Jordan with 1 point, Jesse with 1 point, and Paula with 0 points.
I feel bad making Paula go first now because it was so close. It was so close.
Man.
But we're going to turn it around the opposite way in round two. And Doc G, you get another guess here.
Oh, well, geez, I'm going to go for the low-hanging fruit then. Invest. How you build wealth, you're going to invest.
Is invest a key to building wealth? It certainly is. I know you guys find this shocking.
Yeah.
Do we need to take a second, Jesse, and talk about why investing might be important if you want to build your wealth?
To be honest with you, it wasn't on my list. No, I mean, clearly we want assets that will work while we sleep, and we want assets that will grow, hopefully in excess of inflation. And the whole idea is that you set some capital aside and you let someone else do something productive with it. Usually, sometimes you're the one doing something productive with it. But in the long run, you kind of benefit from this great, instead of paying an opportunity cost, you're really benefiting from an opportunity cost.
Jordan, where does a new person start when it comes to investing? Because it looks like this big wide field we can freak out over.
Well, there happens to be a book that's being republished very soon, or actually it was May 20th. So J.L. Collins' book, The Simple Path to Wealth, basically the Stacking Benjamin Show, all sorts of podcast blogs can really talk to you about basic investing. It is much easier than you think, especially when you're new. As we know, Joe Saul-Sehy is a big fan of starting out simple. And then as you understand investing better, you can actually build a better portfolio, a better asset allocation. But in the beginning, it's getting the easy things right, picking a few broad-based index funds or even one very broad-based index fund and jumping in.
The way you phrase that answer, I feel like I owe you $20. Like, do I owe you money now?
You and JL, yeah.
Yeah, both of us. Like Doug's like, oh God, yeah, this is why Jordan's my BFF right there. All right, we go to Jesse now. Jesse, we got 8 of them left on the board. Things you can do to build your wealth.
I just want to point out, I was saving invest for Paula, going around the horn.
Because of the coalition that's been
I need
formed?
the points, man. I need the points.
Is the coalition breaking up?
I'm going to go inherit it.
The old-fashioned way.
Real passive income.
Is kill a relative on the list?
Ouch.
Inheritance did not make the list. You know, a lot of people think when they first get into the building wealth game that, hey, you know, these rich people around me, they inherited it. And sometimes that's the case. But look at some of these books that have come out that have studied people becoming millionaires. The number of people that have inherited wealth is just a sliver. It's a small number.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. And I mean, just in general, most people, is it fair to say, most people would rather take their fate into their own hands? You know, we all have heard the stories of there are times where someone was kind of depending on an inheritance in a certain way, and maybe they just made a wrong assumption about how wealthy their family was, or maybe they didn't realize that the estate plan that their family member put together actually left a bunch to charity, or, you know, left a bunch to cousin Rick instead of them, like those kind of things. So I'm a little surprised it's not on the list, but still, I don't think it's something that people should really depend on, maybe with the one exception of if you've had really clear discussions with others in your family about how you are written into estate planning documents, like maybe then you can plan on it in some way, shape, or form, but that's probably the only exception. All
right, last guess before we take a quick break. Paula, okay. We still got 8 of them hanging out there.
All right, we've covered the basics. So we've covered earn more, spend less, and invest.
Oh, I would submit there's 8 more really basic things you can do.
I'm going to take the other half of my perhaps too specific initial guess. Initially, I had said invest in your 401k. That was too specific. We've established that the first part of it, invest, is one of them. But what about, with regards to the 401k, what if save for retirement or plan for retirement broadly?
Is broadly save or did you have more? Did you have more?
Save, plan, dream of.
She's trying to be as broad as possible.
Aspire to.
I think save is what you want to say. This is a very broad thing.
Is save for retirement on the list? It is. And actually, they're even more specific, Paula, which is start with retirement. When you start out, prioritize financial independence over everything else. Like you've got all these other goals. The other goals are fine, but saving for retirement should be the number one thing when you start investing. Do you agree with that sentiment?
Yes, I believe that. So a lot of people who are starting out often start out with some amount of debt. Like oftentimes, if you're 18 or you're 22, it's not uncommon that you would have student debt, maybe a car loan. A lot of young people at the beginning of their life do have that. So I believe that debt payoff should be a major, major piece of the focus. But I also believe that some amount, if you have an employer with a match, get the employer match. If you don't, you're so young, put a little bit into a Roth IRA, just $50 a month, whatever. Just put something into a Roth IRA, even though you're also paying off your debt, because it builds that habit.
Is that what you did, Doc?
I didn't actually listen to her answer because I was thinking of what the next thing is. So I wasn't even paying attention, darn it.
Did you prioritize retirement? I realize this game show thing is
it's
lot
complicated for me. I'm thinking about the next answer. Like I'm thinking
that's right.
Maybe if I get the next one right, I could win.
Well, the good news is you've got a whole break here coming up before that.
I was not good, actually. You know what I told my accountant when I first started practicing? I'm not putting money in the 401k thing. I don't think it's necessary. Seriously, I said that at the beginning of my career.
Yeah.
So I had no idea what I was doing on that level, but I was really good. I was saving tons and I was investing tons and I was even buying real estate. But I actually was late to the 401k game. I started about 5 years into my career. My wife already was, and I was already getting some match already. Like I was already getting, it wasn't match, but I was getting some free money in my 401k. So I did have something there, but I did not follow that advice because I just didn't know.
It's cool, though, that you actually did very well. I'm saying that because it was public in a piece recently.
Despite yourself,
you still did very well.
Yeah, I was lucky. My parents really modeled great money-making modeling. They were really good about just saving, investing, side hustling, et cetera, et cetera.
How did you finally get on the 401k train?
I think I just finally realized, I'm like, this is dumb. Like, I'm looking at my taxes. I'm looking at how much I'm spending. I'm looking at the fact that I could have this tax deferred growth and just realized that this was a gift and I should be taking and using that gift as opposed to ignoring it.
Jesse, did you get started early on prioritizing retirement?
Yeah, pretty early. I mean, I know at my first job, I was using a 401k and probably maxing out the match. But from my experience was kind of in my mid-20s, this combination of trying to figure out how to prioritize my dollars, like pay down debt, save for fun stuff, save for retirement. But then also, this is kind of what Paula alluded to, like building the habit of investing. And I think something that comes along with that is your account balance gets to a certain point when you're like, oh, there's a lot of money on the line. And if I don't learn what's going on and try to like systematize what's going on, I might shoot myself in the foot in a pretty big way. So that's what happened to me was, it only takes a couple years in those, it was 2012, 2013, 2014, if anybody remembers what the market did during those years, where a couple years of diligent 401k saving, and next thing you know, you've got like $30 or $40 or $50,000 in there, and you're like, oh, I should really figure out what this is. So that's how I got started.
Isn't it funny how that positive experience makes you go, I like this. Like, this is great. I mean, it's way better than, but you read about this, people that walk into a casino and if they put a little bit of money in a slot machine right away, like that's not good. Well, excuse me. They put money in the slot machine, they win right away was what I meant.
Yeah.
If they win early on in their gambling adventure, not a good thing. Like not because you're going to learn the wrong things, but heck, if you get it investing, Jesse, that's way better. All right, Doug, we're 2/3 of the way done with that game. And what does that mean our score is?
Well, Joe, we have Paula with 2 points. We have Jesse with just 1 point. And Jordan, who is failing in his attempt to sink OG's ship, he's leading with 3 points.
What happened to all this talk about the coalition? And
I've been brainstorming answers for this next round, too. I'm not even in the trivia now. I'm thinking about the next round.
He's like, who cares about OG? I get to win.
I'm trying to figure out which one of my choices to pick here.
All right. Well, Jesse and I are firmly coalition to defeat OG.
Gonna have to. You guys are going to have to. So
Doug said we could combine points.
No, we did not.
No.
Jesse, I never said that.
Yeah, joint forces.
You texted me.
Like Parliament.
You texted me.
It never happened. What does happen, though, every Friday, most Fridays on the Stacking Benjamin Show, is we have this year-long competition between our 3 frequent contributors, OG, Paula, and Jesse. And Doc G, today you're playing on Team OG. We have this year-long trivia competition where we ask them a question, a money-related question that is going to usually very, very, very difficult to get the answer to. Today's maybe no exception. We're about to find out. Doug, what is today's trivia question?
Well, hey there, Stackers. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and today is my buddy rapper 50 Cent's birthday. Me and 50 Cent, we go way back. I mean, he'd make an album, I'd buy it, he'd rap the song, I'd rap along. It's just 2 besties collaborating and having a great time. 50 Cent, like me, is a great investor as well. Check out today's trivia question. In 2007, Coca-Cola purchased Glaceau, the maker of vitamin water, and one of the brand's celebrities investors, 50 Cent, my good friend, walked away with a tidy payday thanks to his minority stake in the company. If his earnings from the sale were paid entirely in US 50 cent coins, how many 50 cent pieces would 50 Cent have received? I'll be back right after I help Joe's mom clean change out of the junk drawer.
50 cent coins. Are you
Hold
kidding
on.
me?
Is this a trick?
Can I use a calculator?
Is this a trick question? Are there 50 cent coins?
Oh, that's one of the best questions Paul has ever asked.
What was that? What was the question?
Paula asked, are there actually 50 cent coins? She thinks this is a trick question.
Is it a trick question? And they're actually...
Yeah, they're half dollars.
It's the one with JFK on it.
Yeah.
Half dollars, yeah.
Huh. All right.
There's silver dollars and half dollars, yeah.
Produced regularly until 2022, now minted only on special request, but there are still a massive number of them in circulation.
Still legal tender.
Can I use a calculator to calculate how many 50 cent coins is my number, or do I have to do it all in my head?
Well, you could probably talk it out loud. Like, let me...
That's too much pressure, Paula. That's too much pressure.
As an example, so $1 is 2 50 cent coins, so $10 is...
That's true. It's just multiply. It is true. It's just multiply by 2. So
yes, multiply by 2.
Just multiply by 2. Yeah.
Joe, we have to let everybody know the order, like who gets to guess when.
Yes.
Right? We can't just let them take over. They're running with this thing. Get a hold of the reins, man.
What are you doing? Doug, man. All right, Doc G, playing on behalf of OG. You, unfortunately, have to go first. So the parent company of vitamin water purchased by Coca-Cola, if 50 Cent was paid in 50 cent pieces, how many 50 cent pieces did he get?
So he had a minority stake. I'm going to go with his payout was $75 million. So I'm going to say that's 150 million 50 cent pieces.
And 50 million. What do you think about those? I was going to say those apples, Jesse, but I should say those 50 cent pieces.
It's a tough position because it's like if I go 1 over, I'm just trying to think. It's like, do I go 1 under? Maybe Paula goes 1 over.
That would make one of you win. I mean, it's cruel, but it would.
Or
it would work.
Unless he's
it would
right
secure
on.
a coalition victory.
Right, it would. For some reason, I'm thinking higher. I'm thinking higher than you, OG. I'm gonna say OG, or Doc G.
All the G's. We got all the G's.
I'm sorry, Doc G. That was mean of me to say. I'm gonna say 250.
Oh,
250 million 50 cent coins. That's your answer? Okay.
Yes.
Got it?
Paula, we got what? 250 million and 150 million?
Okay, so Jesse thinks that he made 125 million US dollars.
Yes.
And Doc G thinks that he made 75 million. I'm actually going to take the under. So let's see. Doc G's guess was 150 million. So I will be 1499999. How many nines is that? 999999999.
At some point, we can't divide the 50 cent piece that many times. So we're going with 149.
Got it.
The judge has spoken. All right. We've got them locked in. 149 million 50 cent pieces from Paula. $150 million from Doc G, and $250 million from Jesse. Who's getting the point? We'll find out in just a minute.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
You didn't start a business just to keep the lights on. You're here to sell more today than yesterday. You're here to win. Lucky for you, Shopify built the best converting checkout on the planet. Like the just one tapping, ridiculously fast acting, sky-high sales stacking, champion of checkouts. That's the good stuff right there. So if your business is in it to win it, win with Shopify. Start your free trial today at shopify.com/win.
Did you know Fast Growing Trees is America's largest and most trusted online nursery with thousands of trees and plants and over 2 million happy customers? Whether you're planting fruit trees, adding privacy, brightening things up with flowers, or bringing in houseplants, Fast Growing Trees has it all. Even better, they can help you find options that are right for your climate, your space, and lifestyle. Click Order Grow. Every plant arrives healthy with the Alive and Thrive guarantee straight to your door. So if you're ready to get planting, this is the moment. Right now, they have great deals on spring planting essentials, up to half off on select plants. And listeners to our show get 20% off their first purchase when using the code WWO at checkout. That's an additional 20% off. Better plants and better growing at fastgrowingtrees.com using the code WWO at checkout. Fastgrowingtrees.com, code WWO. Now's the perfect time to plant. Let's grow together. Use WWO to save today. Offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions apply. Go to growingfasttrees.com for details.
Doc G, you kicked this off with 150 and the coalition immediately split. They were supposed to come in like both on either side of you and they didn't do it.
I'm surprised. Jesse, man, you could have made it a loss for sure. Who knows? I have no idea. Maybe he made like $1 billion for all we know on his minority. Although I don't know. 50 Cent, I think, went bankrupt at some point. So hopefully,
you still don't have a lot of room. I mean, he's got what? $50 million.
But that's why I'm planning on winning the game show. My head's not even in this now. Now you dangled something else in front of my face. That's where my brain is. So,
Jesse, you dangled in front of his face. Oh boy.
Sorry, he did what?
I know. I can't even say it. You dangled a slightly smaller answer. No, a slightly larger answer in front of his face.
I did dangle a slightly larger answer. Definitely larger than originally anticipated. Surprising even. The amount of dangle. But, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about, for some people, the guess is it's probably too much. But for me, it's the right amount.
I mean, if I had that much to dangle, I'd be both proud and a little embarrassed.
But Paula, you dangled less.
I mean, I took the under.
Oh my. What just happened? Do we know what just happened?
This is all your fault, Joe.
Doug, quick, get us an answer. Who's going to win this thing?
Hey there, stackers. Get your minds out of the gutter. I'm not that rare coin collector and guy just helping a pal celebrate his B-Day, Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug. It's my old pal 50 Cent's birthday today, and to celebrate, we're focusing on how he cha-chinged the cash register when Coca-Cola bought a company he'd invested in, Vitamin Water, back in 2007. The question was if 50 Cent, and yes, that's exactly how you pronounce his name, were paid his proceeds for his minority stake in the deal, all in 50 cent pieces, how many 50 cent pieces would 50 Cent have received? If a woodchuck could chuck. The answer, according to both Business Insider and Forbes, 50 cents portion of the payout was a cool $75 million, which means the answer in 50-cent pieces is... This is unbelievable. This is a tragedy. This is the worst possible outcome of all of this. Because the answer is 150 million 50-cent pieces, making Doc G our winner, which means really we're all losers because he's helping OG.
What the hell happened?
Wow.
Right out of the gate.
Suck at this, Doc G.
You were supposed to come on and lose.
I'm speechless for once.
Wow.
Seriously, Doug, when he got it with the first answer, I said, mother.
Yeah.
It's like,
And I was
really?
listening. I didn't hear any keyboards. He wasn't Googling.
Wow.
What a jerk.
Doug, I need to give you a compliment here. Your game face. I was like, if I had hit it, Doug would be losing his right now. So I'm like, I must have lost. I was like, I must have lost because Doug's going to be losing his if I'm right. So I have to give you a lot of credit, man. You maintained that game face. Perfect.
I saw it just briefly, Doug. By the way, I think we might have exchanged the look. Like, okay, Jesse, you're going to lose. What do you want to guess?
I felt like I had a chance. You dangled it right in front of me.
It would have been exceptionally funny if we had taken exactly either side, 149 and 151.
I know.
And he still
and it still
won.
wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah.
Right? We could have done that. And he still would have won.
And you even debated it. You got so close.
You guys are the lamest coalition of all time.
All right, let's wash off from that competition, get to another competition. See if Doc G can actually win 2 competitions in the same day on this show. That would be a new record. But Doug, remind us, what was the score of our main competition today?
Well, in third place, we have Jesse with just 1 point. In second place, we have Paula with 2 points, and Jordan currently leading with 3 points. And let's just be clear, whoever wins the game show portion of the game wins 1 point. So the maximum take home today is 2 points, right, Joe?
That's right. So it's a tie.
1 point
It's
for the
gonna-
trivia and 1 point for the game show is the maximum take home for this.
Jesse and Paula got to step up because you guys at least got to get a tie. You got to keep pace.
Correct answers in this round are worth 3 points, so you're all still in it.
Everybody's got a
I
shot.
get to go first.
Nope, Paula's first. We go back around again.
Yeah, but
So-
I never went first.
You did
Paula
go
went
first.
Then Jesse went first, and then we had a break.
Jordan went first in round 2 and took
Yeah.
the
No.
easy investing.
You did.
Oh,
You took the
You
easy
did.
investing
Was that?
answer.
Yeah, the person
okay.
who's second, Jesse will
You
always
might not
go second.
remember because it was Paula's idea, Jordan. So it might not have really sank
Darn
in.
it. Man.
Right, remember the point Jesse gave you?
Yeah.
Typical man.
All right.
All right, so the person who won't go first is Jesse. He's going to stay second the entire way. So, Paula, you've got a chance to take the lead and put pressure on these 2 yahoos.
Yikes. Ooh, pressure is on. Okay, so I know that this list writer writes in broad generalities.
7 things you can do that will help you grow your wealth.
So far, we have covered earn more, spend less, invest. What was the other one? There was one other.
Focus on retirement first.
Focus on
Save for
retirement.
retirement. That's right.
It was
that's right.
yours.
That one was mine. Yes. That one was mine.
Welcome to Paula, the short-term memory loss.
I may live to regret this answer. Be properly insured.
Be properly insured. Is that on the list?
Yay!
Yay!
Check your insurance coverages. This piece goes on to talk about, Paula, about that, you know, what's going to wreck you building your wealth is that you get disabled, you have a car accident, you have a problem with your rental place or the house that you own. Not having good insurance is creates a lot of horror stories.
Yeah, absolutely.
How about that? Jesse, how often do you look at your property casualty insurances, your homeowners, renters insurance, and
Annually.
Annually, once a year?
Annually. Yep. Annual renewal. I might have talked about it here before, but I 2 or 3 years ago, I started working with a broker who kind of shops around on our behalf. And at least, someone to bounce some ideas off of, for all I know, this is one of those things like, how we all kind of have some potential leaks in our financial plan or some holes or some places where we might not be optimizing. I don't know if actually I'm saving money by using him, but the costs seem reasonable compared to the research I'm doing. And he does shop around on my behalf. And we do that every year.
I like a broker because they're looking at lots of different companies and not just one. Paula, how often do you check your property casualty?
Never.
Never.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
Like,
an opportunity, Paula.
I know. I need to get on it. I absolutely need to get on it.
Doc G, how about you?
Every few years. Usually something comes up or something happens and we're like, oh, that looks a lot more expensive than we thought it was. And we shop it around and get it cut down until they start raising it again.
Doug?
Unfortunately, very rarely, probably every 3 to 5 years. And often I don't do anything about it, but it's inertia is powerful when it comes to insurance. And I think they're counting on that because it's a pain in the butt.
Well, I had an actual insurance agent tell me, you know how sometimes your insurance rate will spike? They have to raise your insurance rate on an entire class of people. And generally what happens is, this agent told me, was that nothing changed except you had a birthday. And because the insurance company was really focused on this set of people and you're no longer a part of that target group, you all of a sudden will see a rate increase because everybody that has that same birthday has the rate increase, which is why he said, Jesse, that the answer there of your answer and generally doing it just after your birthday is a great time to take a look. And having a broker makes that very, very easy.
I thought he was going to say the answer is get a fake ID.
That's perfect. Yeah, is get a fake ID on this list. That could be side hustle. Make fake IDs. No, that is not also sponsored by us. All right, Jesse. Paula now has taken the lead. How often do we get to say that? Paula has taken the lead. So, Jesse, you can grab the lead back and be in charge.
I don't think I can. I don't think I can grab the lead back.
Can he grab the lead back, Doug?
Nope, he's toast.
Well, Jesse, you can be the spoiler then and take one away from Doc G.
I was going to say, I was thinking about just giving an off-the-wall answer, but I'm going to go for the lowest hanging fruit. I have a few ideas written down here on my notepad, and I don't think anyone's discussed debt yet, and I have to think that is somewhere on the list.
Debt. Oh, that's a good one.
So I'm just going to say avoid debt. Minimize debt. Something like that.
Minimize or avoid debt on the list?
Bling.
It is. Paying down debt is a great step. But Jesse, when you look at paying down debt versus investing, like how does somebody determine which way to go there? And the age-old either or question.
Yeah. I mean, the math is just, you kind of look at the rates of return or the interest rates, but then you really do have to think about risk. And so what I mean is that, the mistake that I see too many people make is like, oh, well, if I invest in the stock market, I will get 10% per year, because that is a long-term historical average. Whereas this debt I have, maybe it's my car loan, is only 7%. So I'd rather invest so I can get the 10 instead of paying down the 7. And the thing they overlook is that the 10 has a lot of risk with it. There's no guarantee that you're going to get 10. Whereas paying down a loan is a guaranteed, right? A prevention of future debt payments is a guarantee. So if someone's coming to me and saying, should I throw money in the stock market or pay down my 7% car loan? I'm actually probably going to encourage them to pay down the loan. There does get a point when the interest rate's low enough that I actually think it'd make more sense to invest, but there's some gray area and it depends on the person and their personal risk tolerance, how much they want to avoid debt, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's my take.
Paula, invest or pay down debt?
I'm strongly on the pay down debt side, but I think that that's contextual with the type of occupation that you have.
Oh.
So for a person like myself, I'm a small business owner. Being a small business owner is a highly volatile income, means I have a highly volatile income stream. So I think that for somebody like myself, avoiding debt is more important.
Keeping your cash flow obligation low.
Exactly.
Is really the focus for you. Yeah.
Whereas if I were a tenured professor, where I would have a very stable job with very stable income, I think you could take on quite a bit more debt. So I would make that occupation specific.
I love that as an add-on because I love, Jesse, that you said, interest rate might not look the way you think it is, but compare interest rates, and then Paula looking at cash flow. Doc G, there's something interesting in your book, which really I think is attractive to people as they think about retirement, which for people that don't know, Doc G wrote this great book called The Purpose Code, and talking about what's our purpose in life, bigger than just your occupation. One thing that you and I have shared, which is wealthy people, when they're looking at retirement, retirees, they're not dumb, but they still pay off their debt. I think that leaves people a lot more time and energy and focus, because you wonder if people know the math, right? They know the math around, hey, this is at a low interest rate, shall I keep it? But they pay it off anyway. It's like the happiest retirees are able to spend more time thinking about their purpose because they kind of don't have these mosquito bites all over them of these, low interest debt payments.
Yeah, I mean, I think people get to risk mitigation space, right? When you're getting towards retirement and you are wealthy and you're like, I don't want to spend my time worrying about these possible debts or these possible, as you were saying, mosquito bites. I think a lot of people start thinking about risk mitigation, which gets back to what Paul was talking about. Depending on what your career is, if you're an entrepreneur in a similar way, you might want to risk mitigate. If you know you're not having a lot of active new income coming in, sometimes taking care of that debt and not leaving anything to chance, I think, is what even wealthy people sometimes do in these situations.
Joe, I got a question for the roundtable. I'm interested to get some feedback from the roundtable on the 6% rule, or the 6% kind of as a high water mark for helping you determine when you pay down debt versus invest. I've heard this for years now, where if you have debt that is at an interest rate greater than 6%, it probably makes sense to pay that down, because there's sort of a gravitational pull there. If that debt may grow faster than what you can earn in a conservative, typical return in the market. So if you have debt that's less than 6, that's the number I've always heard. What do you guys think about that?
So that number to me sounds a little arbitrary. I might tie that to what is the interest rate that you could get in a high yield savings account? Or maybe what type of interest could you get from treasuries? Like, what
Yeah.
kind of returns do you think you could get from treasuries?
What I bristle at your accusation of arbitrariness, Paula.
Bristle. Bristle.
I've taken umbrage. Oh, I'll go toe to toe with you and vocabulary.
Well, wait a minute, Doug. You started off saying this is like a rule of thumb, and now it seems like was this a rule of thumb you made up because you're so sensitive about it?
No, not at all. I haven't made it up. I don't recall where I heard it, but it has been several years now. And I think it's a very, very conservative assumption of what you might earn in the market. We often on the show talk about 8% as a typical long-term return on investments in equities in the market. But 6% is just a more conservative version of that. I think that's where that 6 came from, not just pick a number out of random and throw a dart at it.
I thought you were taking umbrage, to use
I
your
did.
words.
I didn't like the accusation.
Because of the fact that you made it, like, it's not your rule of thumb, Doug. You don't need to be mad because you didn't come up with this rule of thumb.
Well, I guess not, but felt like she was sending slings and arrows my way.
Oh, no, I didn't mean to imply that you had made up an arbitrary number. It just, I didn't see any rationale behind the specificity of the number 6.
Somewhere in there was an apology, and I accept. But anyway, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this.
Jesse.
I'm just wondering, and this is something I know you've spent a lot of time talking about, Joe, but when you look at the efficient frontier, Joe, of just like stocks and bonds, stock bond portfolio, what allocation has the best risk-adjusted return? Do you know?
What allocation has the best risk-adjusted
return on this efficient frontier? Because I think, if I remember right, it's like, depending on what timeline you look at, it's actually like 20-80. It's like 20% stocks, 80% bonds.
Where it starts turning more to the right, you're saying, where you're right on the curvature.
I think it's like the furthest left point on the efficient frontier.
To be very honest, I have never paid attention.
Yeah, that's okay. So here's my theory. Here's my working theory. I think if you pull it up, and I'm kind of looking right now, yeah, it's usually around like 75 to 80% bonds, 20 to 25% stocks. And if you look at that portfolio, you can almost do it in your head. And you can say like, okay, 80% of bonds, that's like 80% of a 5% return. That's 4. 20% stocks, 20% of a 10% return. That's 2. 4 plus 2 is
6%. Woohoo!
6%. So, okay, it's like, I don't know if that's the rationale or not, but I could see someone saying like, hey, my reasonably conservative, but like mathematically prudent portfolio is 20-80. And that's going to give me a 6% long-term return.
Now Doug goes, Jesse, $10.
Yeah. I mean, but all this put together really depends on how long-term this debt is. So if you're talking about, for instance, paying off a mortgage and it's going to be 30 years, that's a probably pretty decent bet. But if you're talking about paying off maybe a smaller amount of college debt or something like that, where it's only going to be over 3 to 5 years, statistically, you don't really know how returns are going to be over 3 to 5 years.
But
it's a little bit more chaotic.
Yeah, and I think, Jordan, that it's even deeper than that. I mean, I like Paula's argument about it also depends on your profession. I like the cash flow argument, and I like the retirees argument. Like, who cares what the interest rate is? Get rid of it. Like, if you're going to be okay, let's just get rid of it so that you can focus on your purpose and not on this stuff. Jesse, nice job swatting one away and making it harder for Doc G to win this thing on behalf of OG. So that means, Doc, there are 5 left. Doc G going to win, or is Paula going to take this thing home for the coalition?
Think very carefully about your answer here, Doc.
Yeah. So basically, right, we're talking about things people can do to build wealth. I know in America what the number one thing people generally do to build wealth. It's actually something I don't necessarily wouldn't be the first thing I'd suggest to people. But there's a bunch of other, I have like 4 or 5 here. I don't know how to choose between them. I'm going to say buy a home. I mean, I think that's what Americans do to build wealth. And it is actually the most successful way to build wealth in the United States. So buy a home is my answer.
Is buy a home on the list? It is.
He can never come on the show again.
Wow.
Can I say my other ones? I'm wondering if they're right.
Well, hold on
or
a
not.
second. Let's do that. Let's talk about buy a home first, and then we'll talk about the 4 that you guys didn't get. But buy a home, in this piece, it even start, by the way, the piece was in Kiplinger, and we'll link to it, the 11 things you can do to grow your wealth. It even says at the beginning of the piece that a lot of experts will disagree with this, and that renting can be a better way to grow your wealth. However, the numbers show historically that homeowners have amassed way more wealth than non-homeowners. Now, correlation and causation, I think there's a lot of discussion around why that is, that homeowners have that. And you even said, Doc, you said, I don't know that I agree with this, but buy a home on the list.
Yeah, I mean, we know statistically it's that way. Statistically, we know that that's the way Americans build wealth. Maybe part of the reason is it's forced savings, right? So someone like any of us, we could go rent and we take all that extra money that we're not paying on taxes and that we're not paying on upkeep, and we could put it in the S&P 500, and we could come out just as good, if not better, depending on how much that house appreciates. But your average person isn't going to do that. Your average person who doesn't buy a house is going to rent and then spend that money and not invest it wisely. I think that's why Americans build wealth that way.
I got to believe, Paula, you strongly disagree with this one.
That I strongly disagree that buy a home is a path to building wealth.
Buy a primary residence is a path to building wealth.
You're correct. I strongly disagree that it is a good path to building wealth, particularly if you live in a high cost of living area. I live in Manhattan. The median price to rent ratio here is 50. So price to rent ratio means the price of a home divided by what you would pay annually in rent for that same home is 50. It means that renting is a much better deal. In a place like Cleveland, where overall citywide the median price to rent ratio is 11, in Cleveland it's a very, very good idea to buy. It's a slam dunk to buy. But in Manhattan, it's a slam dunk to rent. So it is highly geographically specific.
Jesse, what do you think about this correlation of people that have built the most wealth and the fact that they own homes?
Yeah, I think it's a really good question, because I'm not necessarily convinced that the act of home ownership is the thing that led them to be wealthy, but instead the things they did to be wealthy allowed them to be homeowners. Right? I mean, that's the argument, the correlation for causation
It's like
thing.
the correlation of yacht owners who are wealthy.
Right. And that's a really good point, because it's like, depending on what the asset is that we're looking at,
That's great.
it becomes really obvious. Now, homes are a much more kind of broad middle class. A lot more Americans own a home than own a yacht. But I still think that if I had to guess, it's probably like 80-20. I would bet that the forced savings aspect that Doc G pointed out is actually pretty important and is a big factor. But I also think there's some of that going on where it's like, well, these people probably are doing some financially smart things anyway and would have been wealthy anyway. I have one question, just a point of parliamentary procedure. You said this was a Kiplinger article, right?
Yes.
So I went and looked it up, and I did see, so number 3, and we talked about this in the show, but number 3 was prioritize your retirement. And then it spends a lot of time talking about investing in a 401k in number 3. Just wondering about that one.
It does spend a lot of time, but here's the deal. We had 3 different ones that answer fit, because she said invest in your So we had invest, we had prioritize retirement, and then we had a specific one that you guys haven't gotten to yet that is also on the list. And by the way, Jesse, we changed the name of the next one down for this exercise.
What is Jesse, like an auditor?
I know.
I do want to go back to one thing about the housing, though, because I think it's important. And I remember, Joe, you and I both interviewed John Hope Bryant, and there are definitely people, especially when they talk about minority populations, that talk about homeownership and building wealth, and will point to things like redlining and the inability of minorities to get mortgages as basically one of the main factors in why there's such a despair between wealth between different racial groups. And so I don't know if it's true or not, but certainly there are many people out there who feel that home ownership very positively correlates.
Like a first step on the rung.
Yeah, and I don't know the answer. And some of that has to do with the appreciation rates of houses over time in certain areas, et cetera. But I think it's what I'm trying to say is I have no idea. Like, I'm not saying you're right or wrong. I do know that there's a lot of theory and speculation about that being kind of a main divider in wealth.
Well, and here's the interesting thing on that note, Doc, is that Jesse, what you said about inheritance, I mean, owning a house where at the very least the proceeds you pay into the mortgage for, let's say 30 years, and now you have some inheritance for the next generation can be a way to, at the very least, maybe build some intergenerational wealth to get people on the right track that way. I don't know enough about the statistics, but that's an interesting argument.
There's also tax benefits too. Don't forget the fact when you sell your house, as you get older, you don't have to pay taxes up to a certain percent.
Regarding the intergenerational pass on in rent stabilized areas, again, I'll use Manhattan as an example. You see that happen with rentals, where a rent stabilized rental unit will get passed on from grandparent to child to grandchild. And so, because it's locked in at a rent stabilized price, the child or grandchild ends up getting that rental at a significantly below market rate.
And their ability right away to live in an area that might be more conducive to building wealth.
So you get to spend less on housing.
Which means, on housing.
Right? You get to live. I know somebody actually.
Well, it could be both.
Yeah. I know someone who lives in the Upper West Side and his apartment is $1,100 a month.
Oh my goodness.
A beautiful 1-bedroom apartment. It's on the 18th floor. It's got these gorgeous views. It's $1,100 per month. That's what happens when you have something that's rent stabilized that somebody in your lineage has held for decades.
Yeah, that happened with my family. My grandma lived in the same place in New York for like 40 years and then handed it down to my cousin. And so she lived in a rent stabilized apartment for a while too.
Yeah. So I just wanted to make the point that intergenerational transfer can also apply to rentals.
Affect that way. That's interesting. Doc, you said you had some other ones?
So should I just rattle them off? I got 3 or 4 other possibilities.
Yeah.
Sell things, right? Put stuff up on eBay, etc. Another one is do it yourself.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Let's take these. Doug, did sell things make the list?
It did not.
It did not make the list.
Another one I had was do it yourself. Do it yourself instead of hiring someone to do it. People remodel their own houses.
That was not on the list.
And then the last I had was move, geo arbitrage.
My God, you could have picked any of those. Any of those if you'd picked.
I knew buy a home was up there because buy a home is what everyone talks about building wealth in America. Like whenever you talk about anyone like who's looking at general trends, they'll talk about home buying and building wealth.
So the other ones on the list, keep investment costs low.
That's annoying.
Polish your credit is on the list.
Oh, polish. I thought it was Polish. I didn't understand that one.
Polish your credit.
Polish your credit. Develop a credit score in Poland.
And polish your credit is different, by the way, than check your credit, right?
Boom.
Come on.
I like that
He'll be
one.
here all week, ladies and gentlemen.
Actually,
finish
Doc,
him.
What's interesting? The opposite of do it yourself, get help from a pro. Is on the list. And then the last one we changed slightly because right underneath, and Jesse, you see this on the list because Jesse's looking at the list. It says prioritize retirement, but then the next one is save for the rest of your goals. But then it gets into the idea of use goal-based investing. So we changed it so that we could decouple those, changed it into use goal-based investing, which is really the point of save for the rest of your goals. So those are the 4. Very generic, but you know what? We had a very not generic conversation. And for that, I thank all 3 of you. Let's talk about what's happening where all you work. Let's start off with, it's weird calling him the special guest because he's here all the time. Doc G, what's going on at the Earn and Invest podcast, man?
This week, we are having on Daniel Crosby, The Soul of Wealth, to talk about his book and talk about various different investing, saving, earning philosophies. And of course, when you're hearing this, the Monday episode will be a solo episode, a pre-episode, usually in run up to that Thursday episode. But since we are doing this in advance, I don't know what it's going to be about yet.
When you said Dr. Daniel Crosby is the soul of wealth, I'm like, I think there might be other people.
Wow.
Too.
It's the book.
But
The Soul of Wealth.
That is his book, which is a collection of essays, very thoughtful essays about wealth. And just a fascinating guy, Dr. Crosby. Love that guy. Jesse, what's going on at Personal Finance for Long-Term Investors?
I've been mixed up these last few weeks, and I think the last couple times I was on, I was like, oh, we're about to release an AMA episode. And I was wrong. But for now, I can say that depending on exactly when this episode publishes, we either recently released or are about to release one of our well-received AMA episodes. And then the other exciting thing is I recently wrote a little white paper.
Wait a minute. Did you just say, so if I say AMA episode, enough episodes in a row, it'll at some point finally be true?
Essentially. It's that when I said it on the last few Stacking Benjamins episodes, I was just misinformed about my own podcast scheduling. Whereas today I am informed.
Yes. So it is either just happened or it may be happening soon.
Correct. It was kind of like back when you were talking about insurance coverage, you said a really good time to check is right after your birthday.
Yeah.
And I totally agree. Once my birthday hits, in those next 12 months, I usually check my insurance coverage.
That's such a key. But an AMA episode. And you also have another episode coming out with a bunch of contributors that I just sent you.
That is true. That is true. So that one I think is going to be, if the AMA just happened, then this next episode that you alluded to will be, I'm calling it the Keeping Up with the Joneses, where I asked 5, 6, 7 contributors to send me a fun story about a time where they kind of fell into some sort of spending trap, or maybe they had a really good spending lesson. They kept up with the Joneses and realized it wasn't something they should be doing. So a few well-known people, I think, including some Stacking Benjamins talent. I got caught there. I was going to say dangle talent. Are contributing to that episode. So that'll be a good one.
That's awesome. And that's at the Personal Finance for Long-Term Investors podcast. My contribution, by the way, was my big mistake was the time I thought the minibar was free.
It's a really good story.
Which was a huge mistake. My bad.
It was free before checkout.
Yeah, it was free until it wasn't. And then I realized, well, you got to listen to that episode. But Paula, what's going on at Afford Anything?
Well, before I talk about the Afford Anything podcast, I want to answer a question from somebody in our live audience.
It's funny. I always say hi to people in the live audience. And today
Right?
been so focused
on running 2 games simultaneously.
Yeah, right.
Both of which put OG over the top. Carlos asks, "Hey Paula, how is your cat doing?"
Oh yeah.
So Carlos, thank you for asking about her. My sweet, for those of you who haven't heard, my sweet, beautiful 15-year-old cat Tazzy has large cell lymphoma. She has now undergone 2 rounds of chemotherapy. She's done really well. She has gained weight each week over the past 3 weeks, which is like, it's hard to gain weight when you're on chemo, but she is gaining weight every single checkup. She's like weighs a little bit more than she did the last time.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So yeah, that's a really, really good sign. She was supposed to go in for her 3rd round of chemo yesterday. We had to delay for a couple of reasons. So her 3rd round's going to be next week. But yeah, we'll see. We're taking it sort of a week at a time. Overall, her prognosis is between 6 to 9 months. So I'm just trying to give her the best life possible. But that being said, thank you for asking about her. On the Afford Anything podcast, we have an interview with Sebastian Page, who is the Chief Investment Officer at T. Rowe Price. And he talks about leadership. So we actually don't discuss investing per se. We talk more high level about leadership, about personality, about psychology, about all of those quote unquote soft skills that make the big difference.
It's funny. I always, whenever I hear those called soft skills, I'm like, those are some of the hardest skills.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Wow. And that's on the Afford Anything podcast. By the way, Jessica takes umbrage, Doug.
Yeah, she lost her shazizzle there, didn't she?
Because it is 50 cent, not 50 cent. So as she goes,
I knew I was going to get somebody's feathers ruffled, and I'm glad I succeeded. Thanks,
Jessica hanging out with us on YouTube says, "Jeebus dough, Fitty."
All caps, screaming.
Just like calling you dough. So good. Well, thanks for hanging out with us. If you want to hang out with us, normally we're here Wednesday afternoons, but because of some recent travel, we're here on Thursday, but generally Wednesday or Thursday afternoon, most of the time around 4 p.m. Eastern time. All right, that's going to do it for today. Doug, lots of takeaways from this one. What are our big three?
Well, Joe, first, take some advice from Paula Pant when she advised using an Antifa budget. Paula, can you summarize that for us?
What?
Yes, the Antifa budget. That is antiques for the win. So your budget should be full of antiques, meaning you should go to yard sales, you should go to garage sales, you should buy lots and lots of antique furniture.
I did not catch that the first time. Thank you for clarifying.
And Jesse's like, wait a minute, I can't get away with that, but she can?
Yes, right. Let's give him a chance to redeem himself right now. Second, Jesse said some smart stuff about deciding when to pay down debt versus investing. Let's see if lightning can strike twice. Jesse, can you remind us what you said?
I think we settled on somewhere in that 6 to 7% range is a rule of thumb break even. If your debt is over that, you should probably focus on paying down your debt. If your debt interest rate is under that, you might be better off investing.
See, Paula, that's how you do it. But the big lesson, if someone offers you 150 million $half coins, here's what you do. You say, thank you. You rent a forklift and you clear out a spot next to Joe's mom's canned green beans because that would weigh 3.75 million pounds or about 6 747s.
Holy, really?
Yeah, I did the math.
Holy.
A 50-cent piece weighs 0.4 ounces. So I did all the math. I did a whole bunch of research. 747s
You're welcome,
next
stackers.
to the canned green beans.
Doug's on it.
Yep. Thanks to Doc G for joining us today. You'll find his podcast called The OG Fanboy Show wherever you're listening to us right now. He's also got a show called Earn and Invest. We'll also include links in our show notes at stackingbenjamins.com. Thanks to Paula Pant for hanging out with us today. She's like, oh crap, what's he going to say? You'll find her totally arbitrary podcast, Afford Anything, wherever you listen to mid-podcast.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I'm still a little bit raw from that one. Thanks also to the Jesse Cramer for joining us today. You'll find Jesse's podcast, Personal Finance for Long-Term Investors, also exactly where you're listening to us right now. Hey, everybody, pause this and subscribe to all three of them, why don't you? You won't regret it. This show is the property of SB Podcasts, LLC, copyright 2025, and is created by Joe Saul-Sehy. Joe gets help from a few of our neighborhood friends. You'll find out about our awesome team at stackingbenjamins.com, along with the show notes and how you can find us on YouTube and all the usual social media spots. Come say hello. Oh yeah, and before I go, not only should you not take advice from these nerds, don't take advice from people you don't know. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Before making any financial decisions, speak with a real financial advisor. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and we'll see you next time back here at the Stacking Benjamins Show.